Hi everyone, it's Celeste and welcome to my channel. My channel is all about cosplay! I teach you tutorials on how to make the outfit, how to do the makeup so you can become the character of your dreams. Today's outfit is actually inspired by the leftover remnants of my black holographic mermaid print. This is actually an idea that I had after I had bought this. Originally I was going to use this fabric to make leggings. That didn't happen. So today I'm actually doing a Disney Bound inspired cosplay of Ursula's human form, Vanessa. Vanessa is actually Eric's love interest after Ariel doesn't have her voice and he finds her on the ocean singing with her little pendant. Now this pendant was actually 3D printed, and if you want the 3D printing of this, I can leave a link in the description down below because it is not made by me. But I did print it and I painted it gold. So isn't it cute? I love this. Later, I will be adding some special computerized effects in it so it will glow. If you're new to my channel, make sure to click that red button down below to subscribe to never miss out on any future cosplay content. This is going to be a really fun tutorial. It's going to show you how to make an outfit from leftover scraps. And it's going to be a cosplay that you can wear at Disneyland without getting in trouble. So I know it's kind of like an obscure little cosplay, but you'll know what it is. So let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. Go! Today's fabric of choice is actually this holographic mermaid print. You've seen me use this in my Harley Quinn videos, and frankly there's not a lot left. It looks like there is because it's bunched up, but it's not actually enough to make something for someone else. So instead I will be making something for myself. Make sure when you're going to try to follow this tutorial, you get enough for yourself. Get started, I'm going to see how much fabric I actually have. And I'm going to lay it out on my floor because my floor is clean. You can see it's a very strange cut and I don't know if I have enough to make the things I want. Leave a comment down below if you want to see a dark mermaid look using this outfit that I made. So this is the weird part in my stash. My stash doesn't have that much left. Here you can see how much fabric I exactly have. It is completely a weird cut. You can see this is where I cut out a sleeve. It's kind of funny. So now I'm going to try to use the rest of this block here for the skirt. Potentially this part and this part for the top. And maybe some sleeve kind of idea. I'm not 1000% sure. The good part about this fabric is that it is stretchy. So I can stretch it this way and then I can slightly stretch it this way, but I think that would compromise the pattern. So I only want to stretch it top to bottom. Because this is a mermaid print, I want to make sure that the mermaid print is always going down so it's scaled correctly. God, that looks like a black diamond. I'm so in love. One of my turtlenecks, I'm going to use it as my base and slowly draw out the shape, or I could just cut around it. So I'm just going to highlight it really quickly. So you can see this does work, but it might be really difficult to see on this material. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy it. That's my butt, Bowser. Do you mind? I am filming a video. Let's go ahead and outline this shirt and then we're going to cut it. Notice that there's only one front piece of this, so I'm going to go back on the front later and change it up with some of the other side of the materials. I'm just using the base of it right now to get the back. Carefully go around your shirt and mark it where you need to, and then cut it out with seam allowance. I wanted to double check and see that my cut was symmetrical. It wasn't. So what I'm going to do is pin it down and then cut off the excess on one side, then switch onto the other and then cut off the excess here. I really like the curved shape that I have on the sleeve itself, so I'm going to keep that. And if your hem of the bottom back isn't the same, go ahead and cut that as well. This would be really useful if you have a rotary cutter. Me, I don't have one. I'm too scared to get one because I think I'll slice my finger open. There's too many horror stories on Facebook groups that I'm in, and they just show and sell all their horror experiences with it. So this one has a little bit more black showing than the other side. So I'm going to cut off this part here. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over to the other side, and now I'm going to cut off this part. I'm going to actually cut off this part and then extra lengthen the sleeve area. Ta-da! There's that. Now we just have all these little extra drippy bits. Alright, Now I'm gonna cut the bottom edge. Make sure it's nice and symmetrical, going like this. Good. Time to unfold it and then pin it to the piece of fabric one more time. So this way we get a front. So now I just open up the fabric again and then I'm just going to pin it and cut it out. This time I'm going to alter the sides just a tiny bit and the top shoulder seam. I'm actually going to extend it a little bit more at the top. This way it wraps all the way around my shoulders. It is extremely important that you switch out your sewing needle for this project. A universal needle will not work for this material, so use a stretch needle. While I have the two sides pinned together, I'm going to sew the side seams and the shoulder seams together so I can create the top. Because this is a stretchy material, make sure you use a zigzag stitch than a normal straight stitch. I decided not to add sleeves to this dress, so I'm just going to be sleeveless. Despite the shirt almost being done, I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the rest of this panel here. So I want to make sure that this part is completely even. So I'm just going to readjust it, make sure that this is flat, all of it's flat. I mean, how much more flat can it get? Pancake flat! Alrighty, so now I'm just going to cut it straight across. This would be, again, really helpful if I had a rotary cutter. That wasn't straight. Fold it over. So I'm gonna try to even this out one more time. That's straight, cool. Got it. Okay, let's see how it looks with the hem. This hem looks so terrible. We need to cut off this excess part, all this little black side pieces. So I'm gonna cut off these black side pieces. So now with our front, we're going to find the center and then we're going to cut it. So we want to find the perfect center. So I'm gonna pin this part here at the top. Pin, pin, pin. So this is the perfect center at the top. The way I do that is put the two seams together, pull it down, it's the center. Now for the bottom part, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put the two seams together, fold it, and then this is the center. Now I'm going to find the perfect center by shaking it loose, laying it down. This is the perfect center. Now what I'm gonna do is pin the perfect center in place. And you're probably thinking, why? Are you going to do something? Yes, I'm gonna do something magical. I'm going to cut it open and create a corset front facing. Do I need to do that? No, but I think it would look really cool. So in order to do that, first we got to see how much I want to cut out. So I think I'll do, since this is a high neckline, so I think I'm going to do about 6 inches, which is 15 centimeters. Do you mind? I'm going to do about 6 inches, also known as 15 centimeters. And I'm going to mark where I'm going to finish cutting because this is going to let me know how big of a seam difference I'm going to need. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut it open. Ugh. And I'm just going to lay it down and slowly cut. Alright, now that we have that, I need to get some scrap material to lay on top of this first. So now I'm going to cut out 6 inches of this scrap material. This is the material that I cut off the salvage edge, so it's exactly the same. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of it. Do I need it to be this big? Not really, but I think it would be nice because I'm going to fold it over. So it's going to get folded over and then pushed in, and that way it's actually going to be eyeletted out. I want to make sure I have more than this than too little because then the eyelets will miss. So I'm going to measure out 6 inches again. If I want, I can do a little bit more so it goes here and creates a perfect seam. But I'm just going to go with 6 inches. Okay, now that it's marked, I'm going to cut it. Depending on the size of the eyelets you're going to be adding, you could either use the full thing if you're using giant eyelets. I'm going to be using this size eyelets for my top, so I don't need this entire piece. So I'm going to cut this in half. I'm just going to slowly fold it over, finger press. And because this is scrap material, it's okay if I mess up. Ta-da, perfect! Now I just want to sew this together here and here, but make sure it's on the wrong sides. well, right side's facing, because we want to hide it. So what I want to do first is place this where it needs to be, make sure it goes all the way down, and then I'm actually going to sew it here and at the top. So I'm going to pin it. I'm going to pin it in place. This way it doesn't move everywhere, because this is some very slick material. Sleeky, sleeky. So I have it pinned like this. This will help later with the hem of the neckline. And then, you know, we gotta hem the sleeves, but let's just see where we go with this front part first. This has been on my mind for a while. Back stitch it, front stitch it, all the stitches. Make sure you go. Turn it. Now you're probably wondering, why are we doing a front facing for this part? Actually, it's going to give it a lot of structure and integrity when we work on it. Actually, don't flip it inside out yet. You want to cut this really quickly. I'm going to cut off this corner edge just a little so it's not so bulky when you have to flip it. So now that I cut that little edge, we're going to flip it, and ta-da! It sits so much nicer. So now we just got to do this for the other side. Now that I have both sides attached, I'm actually going to fold them inward and then top stitch all around and then hemming the neckline. So let's go ahead and do that. Yoo-hoo. I made sure to start hemming the neckline first. Then I top stitched that front corset part that we just made. It's not entirely a corset part right now, but you'll see what it is. Make sure to press the seams down so it can lay flat. This way it will be nice and smooth. I have this old cowboy belt. I might use this to add the eyelet holes. Looks like I can still add 6 willingly, or I could actually just find it myself using a tape measure. When you do the tape measure method, you gotta make sure that you know exactly where you're gonna go first and then mark with your needles, or if you want, mark with the marker because it's on the back. I'm going to mark using my ruler or my tape measure. I'm gonna start right beneath the seam line. I'm gonna go 1, 2, sorry I'm left-handed, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ta-da! And that creates all my marks. In order for me to open it, I'm going to use a seam ripper, and then put the eyelets in. So I'm going to go in, seam rip it a little bit, open it up, be careful, grab my eyelet pieces, or my grommets as they're called. Grab the number I need, make sure that they're all the same type. I'm going to grab all the male pieces first. I'm going to bring my female pieces out now. And then I'm just going to, doesn't fit. So what I'm going to do is grab one of my baby scissors. Usually you want to use an awl, but I don't have an awl. So now that I have it poked, it's going to look like this on the outside. Just a little distressed. I'm going to go into the inside, push it through. Right at the spot. Looks really great. Now, if you're not comfortable with doing eyelets yet, you could do buttonholes. And now with the eyelet punch, I like to open my eyelet first using this male part first. And then we're just gonna push it really hard. There are machines that do this that make it so much easier. And now we go to the female part and we flatten it out. So the female part is just like this little circly part. The male part just goes like this. And then we're just gonna flatten it down. On the front side, it looks like this. Now just repeat this step multiple times. Ta-da! Nice eyelet piece. So instead, I decided just to draw on this until I got the right shape. And so I'm going to cut out the bottom part first and then work my way up to the top. Gave it a little bit more thought and I decided that I'm going to be using the scrap materials. So just because it goes invertedly, I think it would be really interesting to have a pattern part go inverted. So what I'm going to do is use these as godets at the bottom and create more flare in my skirt. It's okay if they're not symmetrical. I just want to make sure that I have a bigger skirt. In order to do that, we're going to pin them to the side and then we're going to sew it down, then add the next piece, then sew it down. And then in between every seam, we're going to be adding one of these triangle pieces. Once you have finished sewing your skirt together and making sure that it's a nice circle, pin it to your top bodice, making sure that there is a front panel open and not a side seam at the front, and then sew it all together. When I do this, I like having the carriage out of my sewing machine so I can place it in. This way I do not sew any of the wrong pieces to the part where it should not be. This has happened to me on multiple occasions. I'm just trying to forewarn you. Now here we are, ready for the final reveal. Vanessa is actually one of my favorite Disney villains, on top of like Scar and Frollo. Frollo is just creepy. Like, how can you not like a good villain? But that being said, I can't wait to like go to Disneyland or Disney World, Disneyland Resort, or any of those Disneyland features and wear Vanessa. So this is a really nice Disney Bound cosplay. It's not a full cosplay per se, but this is a way for you to think about, hey, I have a lot of scrap materials. How can I recycle this into a future project? This project only took me a day to make, literally. Editing takes me a long time, I'm sorry. That's why this video took me forever to make. But I want you guys to stay conscious of what you have in your stash, what you can use for future cosplaying. This is actually a great outfit if I don't want to be in a pure cosplay with a wig, contacts, makeup, prop, armor, shoes, outfit. And I can wear this at a convention and feel great and still be fashionable. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to click any of the videos surrounded by head. Make sure to subscribe down below. And remember to stay inspired, be creative, and I will see you in a future video. Bye!